Good morning, Dan. House number 8115 on Vilakazi Street is the center of focus and a hive of activity, as you just described, over the last few days, and it has attracted quite a number of people. Now, we are actually inside the house that was occupied by the Mandela family from 1946 and until about the 90s or so. President Mandela himself did not live for too long in this house because after it was built, there was that period when the struggle intensified. There was a period when he had to go underground in preparation for the launch of Thulasizwe and later on leading to the two trials that he went through and then him being sentenced to Robben Island. But he describes the place as the center of his world when he comes back from prison and actually says it's only when he got here at number 8115 with Winnie Mandela that he felt that indeed he had left prison. So we thought we should just give you a very quick tour of the house and just show you around. We are joined here now by a tour guide here, Puluko Ntako, who's going to give us a very quick guide. Good morning, Puluko. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Straight to it, Puluko. What we see behind us is this wall here that has various artifacts. Take us through, what are we seeing here? We're seeing cameras down there, family cameras.
Family cameras, and he has been using the cameras since from when he arrived here. And a whole lot of visitors touring the house. People are contributing banknotes, writing messages to Nelson Mandela, and on this side we can be able to see his boots. He used to wear the military.
Okay, I'm going to get you to come a bit closer, but stand a bit there,
okay.
So we can get these boots in shots. These boots that we are seeing here, tell us about them.
He used to wear these boots when he was training as a soldier in Algeria in 1962. And there is also a boxing belt donated to Madiba by American boxer by the name Sugar Ray Leonard. And Madiba, he says the only thing he regrets in life, he regrets the fact that he never became a heavyweight boxing champion of the world. And the two photographs were taken in Algeria in 1962 while he was attending military training. We've got a photograph of Mama Winnie Mandela wearing her military gear, and these are the boots she used to wear.
Right. A lot of the pictures that we've seen of the family that were taken here were actually taken using that still camera that we talked about a bit earlier. But I understand that is a family album.
Yes, that's a family album, and we also on the album have a photograph of Evelyn Masse, the first wife. And the seat, that's where he used to sit, Tata. And the furniture was bought by Mama Winnie. It was not the original furniture which was used by Tata when he was living here. But we will be able to see some of the chairs and table when we get to the living room, which was originally used by Tata.
So this room where all of this is now, it's been converted and adapted to accommodate obviously the artifacts, the various family things that were used here. But what was it originally? Who slept here?
Okay, this was the bedroom to Nelson Mandela's two daughters with Mama Winnie, Zinzi and Zinani.
Right. Yes. And just tell us about some of the children that were born while the Mandelas were living in this house as we move to the next room, which as we exit the bedroom, this would have been the bedroom that the children used to sleep in. And this room that we are in now?
This was a living room. And when the house was built, it was an open plan between the kitchen and the living room. But Mama Winnie decided to build the wall here. As you can see, there was a petition to divide the living room and the kitchen because police were coming opening fire from the outside. So Mama Winnie was afraid that they were going to be shot. That's when they decided to build the wall. She was spending most of the time with her children in the kitchen. And that's the replica of the coal stove she was using because when she was living here, there was no electricity.
Let's go. Let's just get a shot of this replica of the coal stove that she was using. As you will see, this is the stove, and this was quite common in this neighborhood at that time.
Yes, it was common. This is the caldron. They were Dover because people, were using coal stoves for cooking, for warming up the house. And we also have the dustbin lid in the house. The dustbin lid, as you know, it was used by school children in 1976 during the student uprising as a shield. But when police realized that school children were using this to protect themselves, the dustbin lids, the steel ones, were replaced by the plastic ones.
I just want to read a quote here that is written. Obviously, this house has been adapted to become a heritage site. There's a quote of Winnie Madikizela Mandela saying, "A coal stove, a Caledon Dover stove. I remember that stove and how it would have to be polished every day with cobra." And this house is covered with a lot of these stories, these anecdotes about what each artifact represented to the family. And a lot of time was spent in the kitchen, and that is recorded in some of the writing here on the wall. I want to take us now to this photograph. There are two photographs here in the living room that are on display. Puluko, tell us about this photograph first before we come to the other one.
This was Tata's last photograph on this house before he was sentenced for life imprisonment, and this is his first photograph when he arrived in this house for the first time. And there is also a shower room, and inside the shower room it's Tata's letters. He used to write the letters while he was in jail.
And in a lot of those letters, when you read books like Conversations with Myself, you find the concern that he had for the safety of his family, and also in light of the almost 24-hour siege that the police had on this house in the 80s.
Yes. Most of the letters, of course, he was, writing the letters to his daughters, to Mama Winnie, and of course, he was concerned about his safety. It was one of the things which was torturing him while he was in jail, because most of the time, of course, he was unable to be able to help the family to protect them.
Puluko, before we move, this picture, this big picture that we see here, the late former president has a dog with him, and there's a story about this dog that his neighbors have been telling us. What happened to this dog?
I don't want to indulge. I'm not sure about the dog. Most people they say the dog was stolen, but we don't have an exact accurate information on what happened to the dog. So I'm not really.
Do we know what the name of the dog was?
Gombo. Gombo, yes, Gombo was the name of the dog.
Folks, as you can see, that's Gombo. So as we move now a bit here, Puluko, we see now this furniture that we're seeing here. Is it original or is it replicas that were then put?
This is an original furniture which was used by Tata and Mama Winnie. As you can see on that photograph there, Mama Winnie sitting at one of the chairs, and the table is still there.
And of course, the attempt to tell the Mandela story, they've preserved quite a lot of the awards and plaques and honors that he's been getting from around the world.
Yes, memorabilia awards from different institutions and universities around the world. And as you can see, in 1976, student uprising, most meetings were being held here before school children took to the street. Even after the uprising, Tokyo, Sohwani, the likes of Tieti Mashinini were being accommodated here in this house by Mama Winnie.
Look, I want us to move to the bedroom, the main bedroom of the house. But as we do that, you'll be telling us how the Mandelas actually came to acquire the house in the first place. It's described as it was a typical house, which was similar to other hundreds of houses with postage stamp size yards. It's really not a big house, but at the time it was a home, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a home, and Madiba occupied the house. As you can read the information, Evelyn, she was employed as a nurse in Johannesburg, and nurses were entitled to get houses. That's why they got this house.
Built by the municipal councils.
Built by the municipal council. And to Orlando West, as you know, it was built after James Sofason Kempanza occupied the municipal land by force, leading about 20,000 homeless people. Then the government had no choice but to build houses for people. That's why this house was built, Orlando West.
Right. Now we are in the main bedroom of the Mandela house. Take us through some of the things that we can see here.
Okay, we can be able to see the letter from the state of Michigan in the US. The letter was addressed to Dr. W. Bush for him to apologize on behalf of the CIA, because it was said in 1962 when Holihlatla Madiba, when he got arrested, the CIA were involved. There is also this famous photograph of Holihlatla Mandela. He's with Ali Bahat, Clive Lloyd, Steve Soweto, and here Holihlatla Mandela was negotiating for the cricket bosses for South Africa cricket team to take part in 1992 Cricket World Cup. As you know, when South Africa pulled away from the Commonwealth nations in 1961, South Africa lost the opportunity to showcase their talents in international sporting events like the Soccer World Cup, the Olympics. We were only readmitted in 1992 after Madiba, got involved.
Puluko, we see there's a bed here that has been preserved for heritage purposes. Whose bed is this? What's the story here?
Okay, the single bed was used by Zinani and Zinzi. They were sleeping in another room, as you can see on the photograph. But the blanket was used by former president himself, and this blanket is made of jaguar skin. Okay?
Right. Mm-hmm. And over there, I see there's an old telephone, one of those vintage telephone.
Yes. The telephone was used by Papa Mandela, and they decided no, the telephone should be there because Mama Winnie, she decided to keep the telephone even though Rolihlahla Mandela was in prison. And again, on this side, we will be able to see memorabilia, awards from different institutions and universities around the world. On the video, it's Mama Winnie sitting with her two daughters, Zinani, Zinzi, talking about their experiences living here. Some of the things they are saying there, as you can read the information, you'll go to bed knowing that at some stage there is pounding on the doors, the windows, the bright lights, the torches, and the noise. And there is a famous photograph. The photograph is called Mandela's Babes, taken in 2009. Mandela, Winnie, Zinani, Zinzi, grandchildren, and the one on our far right, she's the one who passed away in 2010 before the World Cup Soccer Games.
And I understand that there's some unique features outside. We're not going to be able to capture that on camera, but you were telling us about the umbilical cords of the children.
Yes, there is a bottle brush tree, or the Australian bush tree outside. The tree is very important to Madiba family. The tree was planted by former president himself, and all his children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, their umbilical cords are buried under the tree to connect the children with the spirit of their ancestors.
I want to move you around so that we've got you properly on camera, so that people at home can see you properly.
Yes.
We're not going to be moving around too much anymore because we've seen most of the house. But for you personally, as we mourn and celebrate the life of the late former president, you have taken hundreds, if not thousands, of people on this tour. What emotions are you going through as someone who takes people around this house?
Of course, it's sad. We lost one of the great human beings to have walked our mother planet Earth. But at the same time, because he brought reconciliation, preaching reconciliation and peace in South Africa, I'm hoping that South Africans, we will work hard, to honor him in terms of, reconciling with ourselves, getting ourselves, to be more united than, Nelson Mandela was expecting.
Puluko Ntako, thank you so much. I know that you normally take about 30 minutes to do this tour, and you've done it in less than 10 minutes.
Yes, it's very long. I mean, to talk about former President Nelson Mandela, it's highly impossible, in a short period of time, 30 minutes. We normally, take about 30 minutes to 40 minutes.
Know more about your world. eNCA.com.